Ladies and gentlemen, it is that time of the year. It's honestly just that time in general. Over this past summer, I dropped an EDM album again, volume 2. I've had a good amount of people reach out to me just saying they listen to it all the time, and a lot of people want to know how I made some of those tracks, so I'm literally just going to do a full deconstructed of the whole album. I'm going to go through all the FLPs and just kind of show how I did everything. This is the first time I've gone into any of these FLPs since I was dropping the album and kind of polishing everything up because I did transitions too. I'm going to just go in proper order of the songs on that album. So this is the official final FLP that I did for Horizon. This was the song that kind of sparked the inspiration for me to do a whole nother EDM album. I made the first kind of starter FLP for this song all the way back April 2023. And originally it was just this loop. This is what we were looking for. This is the bread and it was on my Mac. You guys can barely see me. I'm on the Mac now. This is the only part of the video where it will be like this. But I really wanted to show this part because this is important and very cool. So I started out with just this MIDI from Surge XT. And I exported it and added some delay. And then I basically just double speeded it but kept it in the same key to get this sound. And then I added this gross beat stutter effect. And then after I had it sounding like that, I started to really build out the melody that I heard, which like the dun, 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 dun. I can totally hear that. So I added a keyscape piano over it to kind of emphasize what I was hearing. And then together you get the melody as you normally hear it. So that is how I made the starting melody for Horizon, back to the other FLP. But I downloaded the vocals from Like I Do by Martin Garrix and Brooks. I made it into this song, but I really wanted to have my own vocals on the song because I was kind of anxious about just dropping a song with Martin Garrix and Brooks vocals. I don't know. I guess I kind of wanted the whole of Volume 2 to be mostly my vocals and a lot of my stuff. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, those vocals go so well over that. Still to this day, hearing that, I'm like, man, just for the purpose of this video, now that I showed it to y'all too, I just threw that one on my SoundCloud just for the real ones. I still wanted to do that same sort of like intro with just the vocals in it. So this was the recording chain of effects. For any of my EDM songs I've done so far, there's probably a way better sidechain method, but I've just been rolling with this. There's a preset on Shaperbox 3 called Make Space for Kick under the sidechain tab. Like on the melody, for example, here it is without it. And then here it is with it. I know there's like a OG way to do it with like these little wiry things down here, and I used to remember how to do it, but I totally forgot. But yeah, for the vocal effects, I use Auto-Tune 8. I put the retune speed all the way up because I kind of wanted like the very like almost Daft Punky kind of sound when I was doing this album. So whenever I was recording a lot of my vocals, I wanted them to have like almost too much auto-tune on them, if that makes sense. Because when I think of Daft Punk songs that I love, it's like that same exact kind of effect. But then the main effect that I have on the vocals that makes them sound like it's on Effect Track. It's called Phase Mistress. That's the phase effect that you really hear on the vocals. As you can tell down here, these were my takes of trying to get those vocals. So let's hear what this sounds like. So you can tell. I'm just gonna like delete all this real quick. Song gone, it's off a platform. Normally what I tend to do with my vocals, I bet you I did it with this too, is I just kind of up an octave, double time it. Yep, and I kind of chop some parts of these vocals into this main vocal melody that you hear, which is this. So yeah, let me see what this sounds like without all these effects. I pretty much just replaced the Like I Do vocals with my own vocals that I tried to make catchy. With that on top of the loop, I just added like 3 percussion sounds, a drum loop, and then this bass. I think the bass really just shines the most though. I definitely, yeah, I put thermal on this bass one shot to make it even stronger. I pretty much did the same method for the transitions for every song. I just made an automation clip of the tempo and the pitch for whatever thing that I want to change. So the BPM of this song is 126. The tempo of the next song is also 126. So at first I was kind of like, should I change the BPM of one of them? Because I want there to be like, you can tell the speed is changing in the transitions. So instead what I did is I just have it slow down in BPM all the way to 90. So when you see it gets right here with the automation, it goes down to 90. And then just pretty much for the rest of this, it gradually goes back up to 126 right here, which you can set those points, you can set those exact points here, up here, and then when you right click the BPM, you'll see something that just says copy value, and then when you go down here to make the dots and everything, then that's where you place, I don't know if I'm explaining this horribly. I changed the key of the Horizon melody to the key of When You're Not Around, so then that way it's smooth. And so for each transition, I just grabbed a stem from the next song and then dragged it into this. So for example, in this FLP, I dragged in the synth stem from When You're Not Around. This is just the MP3 of the beginning of that song, but I just tried to make it kind of all smooth. So right when this ends, the second song starts and it's seamless. For the song When You're Not Around, I started out with this melody right here. It originally sounded like this. And I did a chord change right here. It's just this MIDI right here. I love it so much. I chopped it up to do the chord progression change for this. Then I have this sound from Electra X from me and Nick's Bank. So I'm pretty sure this was just one night I was trying to just make melodies, but I think after I exported this, I just kind of got the inspiration to flip it into some EDM shit, and all in that same night I recorded some vocals over it too. So now I'm gonna switch to that FLP. The only drum sounds on this are a sub bass, one kick, and then this drum loop. So I remember that night, I think I just let the melody play out, and this was before I had even added the drums, and I added to my vocal chain, I added this effect called Cool Points on Effect Rack, and then same auto-tune. I really like the stacks I added right here where I'm like harmonizing with the main thing. I put on all the effects as I was recording, so I was hearing my voice like that as I was doing the stack. Every time I do that, it's easier for me to kind of just one take stuff and then go back and look at everything I recorded, and usually I'll be able to find something that I like and I kind of just build from there. For this one, I put the transpose all the way up to 12 in auto-tune, which when I take the auto-tune off, listen to the difference. But when I take off the auto-tune, you can tell I'm a whole octave down. This shit doesn't sound good at all. I'm just trying to prove to y'all that like you don't have to be good at singing, bro. I have my moments where my vocals kind of, you know, when you're not around. When you have a bunch of effects on your vocals, you take all the effects off, it sounds crazy every time. To emphasize a bit more of a drop, I also have this other drum loop come in on top of the Winter Dreams one. Another drum loop from the Vengeance drum kit. And then I have these vocals come in too. I just added that in there so it doesn't get too repetitive too fast. And I kind of use that part to build into the bridge and then back into the drop. So as you see, it comes back in right around here. And then I just kind of use that for the bridge. for this transition, I changed the key for this to the key of slowing down. I have the pitch start to kind of die down to the other one right here. And then I just added the beginning of slowing down to right here, and then I just EQ'd out the top so it's all smooth. Track 3, slowing down. I think this is arguably everyone's favorite. I think this is easily the most standout one on the album. I definitely knew when I made it too. Before I get to any part of this, first of all, shout out to Scarlet House. Please go check out his music if you haven't already. I just remember one day in my apartment, I literally just stumbled across this dude's music on Spotify, and I heard this song Slowing Down, and I totally just fell in love with it. I fell in love with a bunch of his other songs. It was probably after my first actual listen of that song in full length. I just knew I wanted to make an EDM flip out of it. So we have this sample right here. My favorite song off the whole album is You're the One I Need, but this is the best, just the best drop of the whole album, I feel. If you haven't heard this song before, when you're starting it off, you just think it's just about to be, you know, another alternative song. Now, before I get into the actual breakdown of this FLP, I just want to show y'all, just to show every real part of this, because with this album, there was definitely a lot of things that I like went back on, tried to change, and then I was overthinking too much, and there's definitely a lot of like unfinished versions or things that didn't make it. So this is what it originally sounded like when I knew I had the idea. Yeah, originally I had it at 119 BPM, which is way slower. I think the actual song that came out is 120, yeah, 128. Just a lot more muffled, and it's way more ambient. Like this shit almost is more tropical. I probably just got burnt out and went to bed, and then I remember kind of going back to it the next day, and then that's when I made this, sped it up a little bit, added more stuff. The main thing I'm just gonna already show off the bat that I got the drop to sound like this. All I did for the drop to get that crazy is I put this effect track effect called Rhythm Channel, which is under the modulation tab, that makes it go from this to so I added a little bit of Valhalla. It's the same shaper box effect, and then I got this drum loop. And then all I added for the drums, once again, just a kick and a bass. I don't think I really added anything else. I just wanted to show y'all the simplicity of some of this too. I'm really not that deep into like EDM percussion yet. A lot of the percussion on my EDM stuff, very simple. I still think melodies have always kind of been my strong point, and it definitely still shows in my EDM songs. The bass in this is actually a one-shot from Noah Mejia's one-shot kit called the Car Bass. I added effectrix to it. Like for this part, I wanted to have an effect where it's constantly flipping back and forth between the sample without the effect and then the sample with the rhythm channel effect. So that sounds like this. And then obviously with the drums. This ended up being my favorite transition of the whole project. These vocals from this song mixed with the synth and drums on the next one just sounds crazy. I know some of y'all are probably thinking, I thought you didn't release the Horizon original one because you're worried about samples and you didn't want to use samples. I had the same exact thought with this song, but I was able to actually reach out to Scarlet House on Instagram, and he hit me back saying he's familiar with some of my work before too. We were able to figure it out from there. Once again, big shout out to Scarlet House, manager Jake Marco. Appreciate both of y'all. For this next song, this is another one of my favorite ones. This was the first EDM song I made that I really used this analog synth. I found a preset on this. The main melody that you hear, which is this. Those drums you hear in there, the kick, everything, that's all coming out of the synth. I'm playing the two chords you hear, but you can hear me kind of playing with the preset. This is kind of the takes of me trying to play that melody. But yeah, all these sounds you can hear are coming from the synth. You can tell which part I use right here. So this is what I use for the end. And then I'm gonna actually see if I can find that. This is the preset for that. You can hear the drums coming when you start to press the keys. I'm gonna see if I can play it exactly the same. shit's hard. So then for these vocals, all I did for this one is I recorded them into here, same exact thing. All I put on them was auto-tune, and then I moved them over to this chain where I added color vocal chain. This is what it sounds like without it. And then I added a delay, some EQing. And then I love this so much. It's so simple, but it goes so well with the drum and bass line that's from the analog. So it's literally just a little bass cut one shot. It's just this. And the way that I got it to stutter more than you see on the MIDI is I use this shaper box drum groover effect. And then it just goes down. And then that comes in with a kick right here. And then here's the other vocals I added. And then there's the higher stack doing that same melody. So with all the vocals together, it sounds like this. And then pretty much for the bridge, I just took out the melody, so it's just the bass and the vocals together, and I really like how it sounds. But yeah, as you guys can tell, I'm still trying to get into my lyrics songwriting bag. Like, I know I have good vocals, but I'm gonna try to do a better job of just articulating words, because I know I can make good songs that will go up. I just need to have more hooks, have more lyrics. I'd say, once again, same thing with this song. A lot of these songs in this album are very, very reliant on the melody. I'm really not adding the craziest, most advanced production on a lot of these. I'm still trying to get better at a lot of the EDM drums. The outro of this song, I remember I was very proud of it when I made it. I took an old piano melody that I made and I actually just pitched it to the same key of this song. I played it over with the second vocals that I added over the Tell Me vocals, where I'm saying "'Cause you're never around." I love the way the delay sounds like right here so much. I don't know why. This was actually an old beat. As you can tell by the file name there, it's just a beat called Jello with me and Nick. Originally, he did all the drums and I did all the melodies on this beat. If I had dragged this sample out, this is what the beat originally sounded like. It was way more up-tempo, different key, 139 BPM. Just to show y'all that, it's a completely different vibe. I've had this beat on my hard drive since I made it. I love this melody that I made. I think I was just randomly going through older beats and I heard this. I wanted to see if I could take it in a different direction, because that main synth melody you hear, it totally reminds me of Sam Gellatry or something like that. So I slowed it down and just kind of flipped it into some EDM shit. And for a while, it was just an earlier version without the vocals that you hear on it now. Horizon in this way I made a really long time ago, and I kind of came back and polished them up a little bit for the album. I remember for the vocals, I literally just recorded them on my phone and then I sent them to myself on here, and then I added some effects. I just knew I needed to come up with just like one phrase or one thing to say and sing it and just kind of make it catchy, and somehow that turned into me saying "You got me feeling this way," which is so like corny when I just say it in a regular voice. Slowed it down to 130 BPM instead of 139 and pitched it down. We got this bass line right here. Then we got this drum loop to tie those together. Then I found this effect that I bounced out, which made the whole beat sound like this. But I didn't want it to just do that, so I got the idea to have it going back and forth just like this. And then I play a longer part of it at the end, so it came out sounding like this. And I really love this part, I'm not gonna lie. And then I pretty much just copied this same exact thing right over here, and I just added these vocals from my phone. And let's see, for the effect chain, I used just once again auto-tune, and then saturated spread from thermal, this portal effect, and then once again the side chain, which has them sounding like this. And then for the chopped up part, I just have the vocals do this. So for this, I originally started out with this song called The Slab by Slowdive. Slowdive, fire music. Let me put y'all on if someone else hasn't. Originally this song goes like this. So what I did was I pitched that down to this. And then all I did with that was just double time it to make it sound like this. It just makes the whole song sound sick, because even when the vocals of the actual song come in, they sound totally high pitched, but it sounds sick. And all I added over it, once again, Vengeance drum loop. We got this kick, and then this bass. Pretty much loops again. The only other part is I have like this other part of the sample that I made the bridge, and I also just had the same drums come back in over it. And I felt like it was really fire for the outro, to bring back that in regular speed like y'all heard at the beginning, and then that's where I let the vocal chops for the next song, Do You Want Me, come in for the transition. So the FLP for Do You Want Me is pretty cool. You can see all the stuff I have up here at the top. This is probably gonna surprise y'all. This is what the song originally started like. This did not even end up making it in the song, but this is what I got the inspiration to start singing the melody around. This was this art from Xenology. And so you can hear some of the first takes for the Do You Want Me hook. So then this is where I crafted together the original chops for Do You Want Me that I later exported and pitched with everything else, but this is what it looks like. Like there's not a single word being said. But I just pitched it up, and then when the drop comes in, it sounds like this. So we have this bass line right here. And then I have this bass cut sound effects. Sounds like this. And then I just went along with the bass line and the melody. The drop comes back and there's no melody besides the vocals, and then I added this other synth sound, which is a sound from this synth right here. You can hear it right here. That exact sound just goes really well with this sound. And then here's some extra vocals I did. I tried to do some extra takes where I was really just singing my shit out. These are the takes I ended up using. But it's basically saying, do you even know? That's basically what I hear. Official lyrics settled. Then there's a section with the counter melody synth, and then also the new vocals. And then I also added this little higher stack just for that harmonization that you'll hear it right here. This totally reminds me of like some Skrillex type of vocals. I really love this outro. I just use super reverb keys, just with the same chords, with the same bass line. To get that extreme reverb, I used Echo Boy's Galaxy. Bro, these names. Here's the MIDI for that, just for y'all to see. I really tried to randomize the velocity at the bottom, as you can see, to make it sound as real as possible. Like, for example, like just making the velocity that much more intense on this one just gives it the feeling that it's like a real human playing it rather than clicked into a program. So for the next song, Tundra, I really love this song. I feel like the melody on this one just reminds me of just old, like Avicii type of vibes. Started off with this melody on Keyscape. And then I just layered it with this synth piano and Xenology. And then I added my vocal chops to it. I just recorded it in the FLP, and so I try to just sing with the MIDI. And I basically just bounced that out as a melody with different sections. Added a portal effect here to get this. I think the strong point in this drop is this bass that I added with a bunch of bit crusher. So this would be the bass line of it. But then I added another top line over it that harmonizes with the bass line, so together they sound like this. Was the drum loop, the kick, and then this percussion. Then I have this other portal effect for the bridge where it just sounds all distorted and reverbed. And then for the second time it drops, I added this effect over the bass, so it goes like this. And then just for the outro purpose, I added an even higher stack of the same bass that sounds like this. Pretty solid, love that one. This song feels like nostalgic even though it's not an old song. So for the next song, Live Die, this one's a different vibe than the rest of the album for sure, and I love it. I used drums and samples from different songs and combined them together into one thing, and I used some of my vocals as well. Out of all the songs, this would be the most valid at any type of festival. All the other ones, it's just kind of me still trying to get in my creative bag, trying to find my sound. So this original drum sample you hear at the beginning is from Roleplay by Pausa, which originally is this. So I sampled this part right here. And then I put this little effect on it. And then I have this stack of vocals from my vocal kit. It originally sounds like that, and then there's this portal filter on it. So then I threw some halftime and some thermal on there. the main vocals you hear, the I Will Live, I Will Die, is from this song called I Will Live, I Will Die. Make sure to check it out and hear the original.
I can't sleep without you here. I will die, I will die, I will die.
I sampled this part right here.
I will die, I will die, I will die. I will live, I will die, I will die, I will die, I will.
The main things I added to make the drop kind of unique on this one. So we have this bass from Serum. This is kind of the LSD bass from 99 Serum Bank. Shout out 99. I took some of the high frequencies out of it with frequency splitter. This bass sound is amazing. And then I also have, it's like a effects sound from this drum kit right here. So I just kind of so then with everything it's like this. And then I have this other part of the song sampled for the bridge. And then for the second drop, I have the vocals kind of coming in at different times just to kind of give it a second drop hype or whatever. To keep the energy building even more and not leave it repetitive, I also added this other drum loop that hasn't been in there the whole time, so it's even more on the second drop. Not gonna lie, this is certified my favorite song on the album. I actually made this like 3 nights before I ended up dropping it. This was like a last minute one, but I kind of made it and I was like, I can't not put this on the album. So I started out with this melody from the synth. Yeah, this was originally just a lead sound, but I think I turned off, and I think I turned the attack down as well. Once I had just that melody, I was very inspired and just started singing the vocals over it. So let's try to find some of these takes here just so y'all can hear the process. I'm just gonna paste this main melody and delete all this real quick so y'all can hear this original first take. I'm pretty sure this is where I got the vocals I ended up using. The vocal chain for this is auto-tune, same thing, mid-range texture from Thermal, and that's all we added for that one. So this is me trying to find the take. This right here is the take that I ended up using. That shit sounds fire. Find your vocal stack and put them on as you're recording. I know that most people already do that. Trust me, just find the right effects chains and just start playing around with it, and I guarantee you you'll end up making some vocal shit or some song or something that you would have ended up never making. So with everything sped up, there's this lower stack of vocals in there. So that's what it's like all together. And I have this guitar type of sound. I think this is from my synth as well. So I added this thermal effect to the sub. But I just knew I really wanted that main synth melody to just be on its own on the drop, so I just have that happen right here where I take out the vocals and I just have the bass and everything else over the main synth, and I just love how this sounds. Also, when the drop comes in, I duplicated it, pitched it up an octave just to add more sound. So together it's like... For this final song, Critical Mass, I don't know if any of y'all were able to tell, but the main melody in this song is actually just a sample of the entire MP3 of Blade Runner, which is an earlier song on the album. So as you can see here, I dragged it in here, and then I pitched it and chopped it up like this. I added a bunch of effects to this, so I EQ'd it like this. But the main thing that makes it is this effect on Shaperbox called Tight Pitch Plucker. Bro, these names. It makes it go from this to this. When I heard that, I just knew I wanted that to be the main melody. So I just added a sub bass drum loop. On this bass, I added... And I have this other main synth melody. And then I added this other part for the outro of it. I don't know why it's chopped like that, but it ended up working out in the end. I haven't gone through these FLPs since I made them. It comes in right here, it's like... And then for the outro, a lot of people are asking what this audio is from. This is literally just a voicemail from my homie Tate. It was literally like the weekend I bought my car, and I just knew I wanted to have some sort of like real life voicemail or real life something at the end of the project. So I don't know, I just kind of was going through my phone and trying to find something that would make sense, and I felt like this just kind of sounded cool over it. So I just kind of have this serving as like the outro for the whole album, I guess.
Bro, that's crazy as fuck. I just randomly got on IG, man, and seen it, bro. Like, congrats, bro. Continue to, be who you are. Like, everything's gonna work out. Everything already is working out, bro. Stay focused, man. I'm proud of you.